By the way, we have been talking a lot on this show about the boom in women's sports, and we mean boom. But if you are skeptical, let's just look at the records being shattered. First up, money. This year, women's elite sports around the world are projected to generate more than $1 billion in revenue for the first time. Next up, attendance. Attendance at the National Women's Soccer League games topped 2 million fans this season, an all-time high. And of course, CBS Mornings got in on the action because we don't like to miss a party. So we were live from Kansas City ahead of the highly anticipated championship game there. And then viewership. The WNBA set multiple league records in 2024, and this past season was its most watched ever. That was, of course, fueled in part by an all-star draft class, including Chicago Sky's Angel Reese and the Indiana Fever's Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. Have you heard of her, Tony?
I have.
Clark's appearance in the NCAA Women's Final helped it get a larger TV audience than the men's final for the first time in history. But there is much more room for growth in pay, in viewership, and in league sizes, and women's leagues are expanding. Last week, the WNBA's newest team, the Golden State Valkyries, officially filled its roster. The team's getting a lot of love, including from its Golden State NBA counterparts. That's Steph Curry and Draymond Green rocking Valkyries gear. It is a long time coming, but the future of women's sports is now, and our next guests are living it in real time.
That's right, Adriana. Joining us now are Golden State Valkyries General Manager Ohemaa Nyanin and Coach Natalie Nakase. Coach Nakase, Ohemaa, thank you very much for joining us. Very exciting time, right? You guys must be feeling great. Coach, I'm curious, from your perspective, you've won 2 WNBA titles as an assistant, right? Now you're stepping into this role. Is it win in season 1, or is it we're going to build and then we'll see what happens?
I think my mindset, kind of just because it's super competitive, is that I want to win at any cost. So going into year 1, I want to win as many games as possible. When I step on the court, I want our players to believe that, and that's the goal.
So your team owner, Joe Lacob, he wants you to win the championship in 5 years. I mean, that sounds like pressure. Ohemaa, how do you manage that? And are you managing expectations, or you're like, no, we got this?
We got this. I think I wouldn't take this opportunity if I was afraid of it. And in getting these athletes for the expansion draft, we were hoping that they would have this let's go get it attitude. And after our first initial conversations with them, I think that they're ready.
Yeah? How did you go about putting the team together? You mentioned getting these athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, is it like a big whiteboard and everyone says, here's our dream, here's reality? I'm really curious how that works.
Yeah, we are now experts in Excel.
Excel spreadsheets?
Excel spreadsheets were the game. Prior to hiring Coach Nakase, there was a lot of scouting that went involved, and then we hired her, and now we were like, so who are your favorite athletes? Here are the athletes that we think are going to be protected, and then if they aren't protected, what's the depth chart per role on court? And then when we got the lists, it was a lot of passionate conversations leading to our inaugural 11 athletes.
I got one more question about that. This is so interesting. So are you looking at pure talent and basketball ability, or are you thinking, okay, which are the people who are going to actually mesh and work together as a team? Either one of you guys can talk about this.
Everything.
All of it.
We look at everything. I mean, that's what, when she's talking about film sessions, we watch everything. We watch body language. We watch how they, how they approach their teammates, interactions, high fives, everything.
High fives.
High five.
You want
everything.
a team player.
Exactly.
You want chemistry.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of watching game tape, but then also just watching high five footage and being like, it's pretty good. A lot of enthusiasm.
Hey, that's all about, though, being a team.
No,
right?
I know.
The championship teams are the most selfless teams, and they have great team chemistry.
No, it's really important.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm obsessed about this stuff because, like, baseball pioneered the money ball technique, the little things adding up to big things. It matters. It really does.
So speaking of the little things that make the big things, I mean, you guys are starting from zero, right? You're trying to go from zero to hero. How do you establish a culture, excitement, and identity around this new team? You have the Golden State Warriors, right? So they're like your brothers, they're your cousins. But how do you create your own culture, and who is that? Who is the Valkyrie?
So for me, I have 3 non-negotiables for picking players. Number 1, you have to be ultra competitive. So you have to love winning, and you have to hate losing. Like, you have to feel it, right? Number 2, you have to have high character, like sacrificing the greater good for the team at all times. And then the third is you have to have a never satisfied mindset. like you have to play like your life depends on it. So those are the type of characteristics that we look for.
Coach is not
Can you
playing.
tell she's intense?
That's how you're going to win a championship.
Yeah.
That's why you're chilling.
Absolutely.
That's why you're not worried.
Ohemaa was nodding along. As
Yes,
she was like,
yes.
yeah, that's my coach.
Yeah. Well, that was your most important pick, is just picking your head coach.
Indeed. And I would say, like, the culture is also still being built.
Yes.
With a blank canvas that we were given, and now we have 11 athletes to start our journey. We don't want to pigeonhole anybody in one area or the other. We want to make sure that they feel like they are active participants in building this culture with us.
Very exciting to be able to do this from scratch yourselves. Thank you so much. We're so excited to watch you guys and watch your team. Natalie and Ohemaa, thank you for being here.